Hello everyone. This video is for our kindergarten through 4th grade team for March week 3. This is March 21st. Super exciting. Last year we didn't have a March week 3. So glad to be back to March week 3. I started putting supplies back on carts just to try to get us back into that habit again. So I have a cart for kindergarten, a cart for 1st grade, 2 carts for the boys' rooms, and 2 carts for the girls' rooms. So let me know if that's not working for you guys or if it's a little crazy. I know the kindergarten and 1st grade carts are set up a little bit differently, but overall they're the same. So all of your leader materials are going to be in that little magazine holder back in the folder that says week 3. And this month we are learning all about the life app of patience, waiting until later for what you want now. And this week our story is called Can't Hardly Wait, and it's about Esau's impatience. So he comes home from hunting, and his brother Jacob has been cooking this delicious smelling stew, and Esau is so hungry he'll do anything for this bowl of stew. And Jacob says, will you give me your birthright? Which back then was a huge deal, right? They got double the inheritance. They were the leader of the family, and Esau was so impatient he said, sure, I'll give you my birthright, just give me a bowl of stew. And then now we say Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob instead of Abraham, Isaac, and Esau as the fathers of our faith. So Jacob took over the family line. And our bottom line for this week is, if you don't wait, it could cost you. And our memory verse for the month, hopefully you've already seen this. Oh, hi, I'm done. Okay. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and don't lose hope. Wait for the Lord, Psalm 27:14. So that's our memory verse for the month. All right, so jumping in, when kiddos start to roll in, I would love for you to just take a minute and pray for them before they come in. Then as they roll in before service starts, you're going to ask kids, what could you miss out on by not waiting? See if kids have any examples while they're playing. Maybe a surprise could be ruined if they looked early. They could lose privileges if they throw a fit. They could burn their tongue if they don't wait for something to cool. Heck yes, I have done that before thousands of times. And then they can also be decorating, sorry, I just burped on camera, that was gross. They can also be decorating this birthday cake, because this whole month long we kind of have this baking theme, talking about when we bake, we have to wait. So they could be coloring those. Those will also be in your little magazine racks. Then when service starts at 9 and 11, the opening activity down on your cart, you will have 2 spatulas and 4 Oreos. So I put 2 Oreos in for first service and 2 Oreos in for second service, just in case they break. So you'll split your group into 2 teams. Each team gets 1 spatula and 1 Oreo. Make a starting line in your area, and then the first kid gets a spatula and a cookie. They're going to race down to the finish line, which could be the wall or the table or whatever, and back with the cookie on their spatula. If the cookie falls off, they have to come back to the starting line and start again. They cannot hold the cookie on the spatula. Once the kid races down and back, they hand the spatula with the cookie to the next kid in line, and so on and so forth. The first team that finishes is the winners. And tell kids that the rest of your time together is going to be an exercise in patience. They are going to get to eat some cookies later, but they have to show some patience first. So you'll close this time by saying, guys, I love cookies, especially homemade cookies. Isn't it so hard when you have to wait for yummy cookies to come out of the oven when the smell fills the whole kitchen? Well, we're going to head to large group where we hear a story about someone who should have been patient for some yummy food, but ended up making a bad choice instead. So then you will head down to large group. Sophie's coming back to worship with us this week. I'm so excited. Things are finally getting back in the swing of things. When you get back, you're going to do an activity called the cost of stew. So what you're going to do is tell kids that they get to race against you while they make a pretend stew, just like Jacob did in today's story. So give the kids a starting line and have them all get behind it. Depending on how many kids you have, you can either have 1 team or 2 teams. On your carts, I have 2 bowls. What you'll do is you'll pass out a piece of fake food to every kid. Oh, did that just stop my video? Okay, good. To every kid in line. And then the last kid in line will get a wooden spoon. You might have some extra food. You can just put that to the side or leave it in the bowl. It doesn't matter. Just make sure your teams are as evenly split as possible. And then what you'll do is you'll have kids line up with their food in hand and try to make the bowl as far away from the kids as possible. When you say go, the first kid in line is going to run down to the pot, toss their food item in, and then run back and elbow tag the next kid in line. The last kid with the spoon, when it's finally their turn, they're going to run down and stir the stew 4 times and then run back. And while kids do this relay, you're going to read the story from the activity page. Read it quickly, but read it clearly. And if you finish the story before the kids make their stew, you win. If not, they win. So it says if you have more than 8 kids, divide your kids into 2 teams. Run the same relay, but each team makes their own bowl of stew. So I guess if they have more than 8 kids, they probably won't be able to finish. Then in the pocket of your folder, this is the story that you'll read while kids are running and making their stew. You'll close it down by saying, guys, it's hard to understand today's story since we don't have the same traditions as Esau and Jacob's family did. So it would be like deciding to give your brother all of your favorite stuffed animals if he gave you brownies every day for a week, or all of your baseball cards, or all of your collection of something. Not really worth it, right? So Esau traded something that was worth so much in the future for something that was worth so little now. And it's not likely that Esau would have died of starvation for missing one meal. He let his stomach rule his mind and forgot what was important. And I'm sure that stew looked good, just like this pretend stew that you made, but it definitely wasn't worth the enormous cost in the end. So whenever you get antsy and impatient, just remember Esau's story. If you don't wait, it could cost you. When the race is over, go over some real life examples, asking kids what this response could cost them and what would be a better response. So real life examples of not waiting for something, whatever that may be. See if they can come up with any examples of not waiting, like burning your tongue if you don't wait to eat, okay? Or maybe not waiting when you save up for something and wasting all your money and then you don't have any money left to spend on what you wanted. Okay, for our memory verse activity this week, you're going to pass out 2 Oreos to each kid. These are for them to eat, so pass them out on a paper towel or a napkin, but tell them they may not eat them yet. First, you're going to practice their memory verse with motions, challenge kids to try it on their own. After practicing for several minutes, then they can eat their cookie, okay? And then to close it down in prayer, you can do this last activity if you have time. Especially for our older kids, you're going to divide your a dry erase board into 2 columns, and you're going to read these prompts and write out the kids' responses in the left-hand column. So what would it cost you if you lost your patience in public? Maybe you'd be embarrassed, right? What about if you lost your temper and threw a fit? What would it cost you if you snuck candy instead of waiting till after dinner? And then go to the right-hand side and ask kids to give you ways to respond to every situation instead of losing your patience. Write down the answers that they gave on the whiteboard and then set up the board so everybody can see it. And then maybe try taking turns doing popcorn praying, where you go around the circle and give each chance a kid to say a prayer. If they don't want to pray, they could just say pass. Especially for our older kids, try giving them a chance to practice praying out loud. That's it for this week. The only other thing I wanted to show you is I got an action Bible for every room. So I got one for kindergarten, one for first, one for boys, and one for girls. And I'm going to start marking the story. My 2nd grader is obsessed with this Bible. I know a lot of the boys are for sure, but girls too. So I'm going to start marking the story every week. This is a great way to get the kids into the Bible. Maybe they'll ask their parents for one of these. So marked in your Bible this week is called Birthright Stew, and it talks all about our story that we read. It's just a couple of pages long, just that, 3 pages. So maybe if you get a chance, gather your small group around you in a circle and read this out loud to them, especially our 2nd through 4th graders. I really think they would enjoy that every week. That's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for serving. Love you all so much, and we'll see you on Sunday.